welcome to Your Favourite Teacher. Today we're looking at power and conflict, and we'll be exploring Wilfred Owen's poem Exposure. Exposure was written in light of Owen's own experiences in World War I. This poem, as the title suggests, was aimed at exposing to the public the realities of war from which they were previously kept sheltered. Around World War I, propaganda was used to mislead the public about what was actually going on the battlefields and what soldiers were fighting for. Previously, soldiers were believed to be fighting heroically for their country, sacrificing themselves for the greater good in an honourable way. Exposure, however, removes all of the honour and heroism from war, indeed exposing the public to the torment soldiers face and the fact that most of the time on the battlefield, soldiers were living in torment, waiting for the battle which never came. This title, Exposure, also refers to one of the biggest conflicts soldiers face in the poem, their exposure to the elements. Nature is personified throughout the poem to be a hostile enemy force which torments the soldiers. The first example of this comes in the beginning, where Owen writes, "Our brains ache in the merciless iced east winds that knife us." Whilst the verb knife implies the violence with which nature can harm the speakers, the two adjectives merciless and iced also emphasise the way this violence is done completely without care for the soldiers, without mercy and a complete lack of emotion. Further personification is seen later to describe the mad gusts tugging on the wire, describing the way nature pulls at and attempts to dissemble the shelters. However, one of the most poignant examples of personification comes in the third stanza with the line, "Dawn massing in the east, her melancholy army, attacks once more in ranks of shivering ranks of grey." This example of personification completely reverses the usual connotations of sunlight and dawn, both of which often imply hope, warmth, and compassion. For Owen, though, the use of the image dawn rising and turning it into an army massing against the speaker not only shows the way nature's endlessly devastating and tormenting the soldiers, but also emphasises the speaker's state of mind. The association of dawn with an enemy implies that the speaker feels completely defeated and without hope, as Owen reverses the usual connotations of sunlight into something much more sinister and hostile. Where the soldiers are seen to be defeated, we can infer the way that Owen wants to portray the life of the soldier as one without purpose, cause, or any hope in sight. As we've already seen, the reversal of the symbol of dawn helps emphasise the soldier's lack of hope. However, pathetic fallacy is also used throughout the poem to do the exact same thing. Nature is constantly referred to as having negative, hateful emotions, such as being merciless, grey, mad, and deadly. Through this pathetic fallacy, Owen helps evoke the distraught mindset of the speaker and his fellow soldiers by emphasising such negative emotions repeatedly. Repetition is also used in the line, "But nothing happens." In fact, several stanzas end this way. This demonstrates the way that war is uneventful and dull. And Owen is attempting not only to show the defeatist attitude of the soldiers, but also their lack of heroism. Since there's nothing which ever happens, and life for the soldier never changes, readers can infer that the soldiers have no hope for any change to come, and likewise no hope for their conditions to improve. The fact that the soldiers are so mentally defeated suggests how Owen is trying to imply the lack of honour to be found in war. Soldiers were formerly thought to have honour because of their noble actions, showing valour and bravery in the face of danger. However, the soldiers found in Exposure have no opportunity for heroic or brave acts, as they are just being brutally killed by nature. Instead, the emphasis on inaction deprives them from any chance of seeming honourable to readers. Throughout Exposure, Owen also emphasises the mental pain and anguish soldiers experience during war. Opening the poem with "Our brains ache" shows the discomfort that they face. However, the lack of hope and action in the poem means that there is pain for no reason. an even worse fate than simply the pain itself. Further evidence of this pain is seen in the first stanza when he states, "Wearied, we keep awake because the night is silent." Beginning this line with wearied emphasises the mental anguish of the soldiers, just like the words "our brains ache." Furthermore, it's ironic that the soldiers are wearied because of the silence. Silence normally would connote calm and peace, whereas this one distresses the soldiers mentally. Owen also states that the soldiers are worried by silence, sentries whisper, curious, nervous. Again, Owen makes their mental anguish very clear by listing their actions and emotions, using the verb whisper to imply their emotional state and the way they feel they're in danger, even with no enemy in sight. Overall, then, Owen's poem very clearly portrays war to be something devoid of heroism. Worse still, the void created by the lack of heroism is only filled by agony and mental anguish, something people previously never expected soldiers to face. Nature itself is also made out to be the enemy, as well as the soldiers' own emotions. Owen's poem is therefore a great way to discuss the effects of war, nature's impact on humans, as well as inner conflicts. I'm Miss Meeks and we've been studying poetry.